Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lick of the Week videos. This is a new series. I'm extending the chord groupings idea over into minor key songs, and which is something for whatever reason I never got around to doing when I was doing my Lick of the Week videos years ago. So what we'll do is make a grouping of chord forms, shapes, whatever you like to call them, that revolve around each other in a close proximity that will allow you to play in minor keys. Now, playing songs in minor keys can get a little more hard to grasp because there's actually three forms of minor scales. Naturally occurring minor scale, which is called the Aeolian. Then you have harmonic minor and melodic minor. Those other two are more for jazz and pop stuff. So I'm just going to stick with just the normal minor scale for the purposes of these videos. Maybe sometime in the future we'll talk about the jazz derivatives of a minor scale. And normally I would start a chord grouping set of videos around closed shapes, which means there's no open strings. But to make this a little simpler, I'm going to choose the key of A minor because it comes from C. They're related to each other. And if you go to my Facebook Lick of the Week video page, there's some theory explanation that I posted there, or you can just go online and there's enough stuff talking about minor key progressions to make your hard drive on your computer melt down. So, I mean, but if you want to go to my Lick of the Week page on Facebook, I'll have a pretty detailed little explanation of where these chords come from. So I'm picking the key of A minor, and since we're banjo players and most people are familiar with some of these low position chords, I'll start with these. Now they're not all movable because if they have an open string in them, they may or may not work if you try to slide it up and down to different minor keys. So let's just stick with A minor here. And I'm going to zoom in with the camera, hopefully, if I can stay in the camera shot. So A minor will obviously be our one chord now because the one chord always designates the key you're in. So we're playing in the key of A minor, so the one chord will be minor. Okay, now the two chord, and this is the typical A minor that everybody learns in the beginning. There's an A, a C, and an E. So that's the first, third, fifth notes of your A minor scale put together, harmonized to make a chord. All right, if you want to add the bass string, you'll have to, you'll have to figure out how to fret the fourth. If I don't think the fourth's really all that necessary, I'm just going to omit it. So right here, these three notes will give you an A minor chord. All right, your two chord in a normal minor scale, when you harmonize the second note, A, B, B is the second note, you wind up with a B, a D, and an F. Those three notes give you a B diminished chord. Now, how would you find that close by this A minor chord? Well, the one that leaps to mind for me right away is having your F note on the first string at 3, your second string open, there's your B, so you have an F and a B, right? B, F, and you need a D. So if you wanted to, you could just play the fourth open, that would be your D. And then your B would be the open second, and your F would be on the first string. So there's a B, a D, and an F. So let's just use that because it's easy. You only have to fret one string. So A minor, B diminished. All right, your three chord in a minor key is going to be major, which is different than your major scales. When you make chords out of a major scale, normally your three chord is minor, but because of the different intervals involved in a minor scale, because it's a different arrangement, A minor is basically the same notes as C, just starting on an A and ending on an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So there's your little theory bubble. So what we need to do is conjugate or make a chord out of the third note, A, B, C. So C is our third note, so we'll pretend like it's the first note in our series, and we wind up with C, E, and G. Well, that's a C major chord. So you'll notice A minor and C major are always right together, just like in our major keys 1 and 6 are always together. So we're actually starting with the 6th note of the C scale and making a chord out of that, which is A minor. So there's where your whole A minor scale comes from and all your chords. So C and A minor will always be hinged together because they're basically a pivot point for the same notes. So A minor is 1, B diminished is 2, C major is 3. Everybody knows your C chord. Alright, now what about the 4th? A, B, C, D. What is that D going to be? Well, if you, again, conjugate, go 1, 3, 5, you'll find out it's D, F, and A. D, F, and A are a D minor chord. And you should know your D minor chord. It's the first string. Here's your F, here's your D, and here's your A. And you can even play the 4th open with it because it's already tuned to D. So that's 1, A minor, B diminished. All you have to do is hold the first string at 3 and play 1, 2, and 4. B diminished. C is your 3, and your 4 chord is a minor. Remember, in a major key, your 4 chord is major, but in this case, it's minor, so a little gnarly. D minor, so we got A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor is our 4. Now what about our 5? We got A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, E is our 5th note. That's going to be a minor because if you go start with the E and you go through those scale notes and go 1, 3, 5, you wind up with an E, a G, and a B. An E and a G and a B are E minor. E, G, B. So if you make the first A minor that most all banjo players learn, there's an easy E minor, just 2 notes, 2 strings. So we have A as 1. I'll try to stay in the camera shot here. A is 1. B diminished is 2. C is 3, but it's a major. D minor is 4, and it's a minor. E minor is your 5. Alright, now what about your 6? A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, if you conjugate that, you wind up with F, A, C. 1, 3, 5. Guess what? That's an F chord. F major. What about the 7 chord? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, if you conjugate that, you get G, B, D. Guess what that is? G major. Open. So now if I just kind of roll through these or strum them, I mean, you can do anything you want. This is what you get as the natural chord progression for the key of A minor. A minor, B diminished, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, back to A minor. So there you have them in a little grouping, but now again, some of these chords have open strings, some of the shapes that I chose, because I wanted to start with something that was probably pretty familiar for most players, playing a few minor chords down here. But what's really strange about this, if you're used to playing everything in major keys, is the types of chords you'll use. Sometimes they're major where they're supposed to be minor, because you're thinking with the minor scale, minor key, being mixed up with the major key. So if you want to get it right, what you'll have to think of is the 1 chord is minor, the 2 is diminished, 3 is major, 4 is minor, 5 is minor, and then the last 2, the 6 and the 7, are both major. So it's a little different arrangement, you know. But once you get used to playing songs in minor keys and you hear these changes, your mind will start to classify them just like it did the major key stuff. So playing in a minor key seems strange at first because most players don't spend a lot of time playing in minor keys. Especially if you play folk music, bluegrass, old-time country. It seems like most of those songs are catered toward major key stuff. So all you have to do is just train your ear and your hearing a little bit to pick up on the changes so that when you hear a song in a minor key, you can predict that. So that wraps up this video. What we'll do next time is move up the neck, and we'll actually play all of these chord forms in the minor key for A minor, but we'll use all closed chord shapes. And again, I'll create a little grouping where you can find all of them conveniently together in one spot. And once you do that, once you learn all of the associated shapes and they're all closed positions, no open strings, you can literally slide that up and down the neck and play in all 12 minor keys with that one grouping. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks. See you next video.